Hello everyone, my name is Rosanabe Dororai for sure, and I'm sorry how many minutes late? I'm 30 minutes late. It was due to circumstances beyond my control, so I'm really sorry that I'm late. So we'll be getting down to the topic. Please, if you come across the video or you happen to join, please share so people will know we're on. Also, thanks for joining me. You will see all my social media platforms, everything on the screen. If you intend to get to me personally, or you intend to send a message or just get in touch with me in general. Yeah, so if you're joining, let me know where you're joining from and how your week has been. Of course, happy weekend. Yeah, so thank you for those who have joined me. Please share so people will know we're on, because I know, and I want to really apologize. I wasn't on for the past 2 weeks. I explained the reason on my I stated the reason in Real Time Will Try extended on Sunday. So if you were in there or you haven't listened to it, there's an opportunity. So you know why I've not been around for the past 2 weeks. It's an opportunity for you to go there and listen to it. I'm sure you would learn a thing or two. All right. So our topic for today is: does ethnicity matter when it comes to the choice of a spouse? Some will say yes, some will say no. I've had some people inbox me and say yes. I've had some people say no. I've had some people say, because they like, if you're like in a mixed race marriage, they like the fact that the way the children come out, the way they look, especially if you're mixed race with someone of an European descent. Yeah, but it's easy for us to talk about this now. It's easy for us to engage in a conversation on it. But 50 years before, or way back, it wasn't this wasn't the case, especially in a country called Virginia. People were actually put in prison or banned from living in the state because interracial marriages was not allowed. So it's interesting that we've evolved as a people, as humans, and we now know that it doesn't matter your color and all that. So this person is still a human being and is worthy of love. And so people are interracial racial relationships, and we have about 4.9 million people who are racial relationships now. Thank you for joining me, Arama. I see you. So but statistically speaking, it's when it comes, people say, I was checking. I had to do some research to find out, and what I got was that people say interracial relationships don't last as long as they took a 15-year. That's for people who have been married for 15 years and are happy, because you can be married and not be happy, but I'm married and are happy for 15 years, and I've found out that about 66% of those people are not the rate is 66% are most likely would lead to divorce. And we found out that for those who are married to their own race, that's say like a black person marrying another black person, or a white person marrying another white person, we found out that the rate was down a bit to about 55, the rate of divorce and all. And people linked it with the social status of people linked it with external factors affecting the interracial and all. But I was just giving us a broad statistic before I tell you what my opinion is. Please, you could join in the conversation, let me know what you think. I personally believe that interracial, there's nothing wrong with interracial. I used to have an issue with it before, because I understood that cultural differences come to play a big role in the way, especially in an African setting. But I happen to come on school in Europe, and I happen to have lived here now. This is 10, 11 years, and my ideology about that has changed. I believe people say communication is what keeps a relationship going, but I believe it's more of internal and external factors. What do I mean by internal and external factors? Internal factors such as the financial status of the couple. Internal factors such as the determination of the couple to stay and stick together. Of course, the fidelity of the couple. The how am I going to put it now? fertility too, because especially if you want kids of the couple, all those things, that pressurize. In fact, how long, someone put it during my research that how long you stay in a marriage depending on the stresses, both external and internal now, that you can withstand is what keeps a relationship. It's not really about what you look at, but again, there are external factors which would bring race in, because external factors, you need support from your family, whether you are from any descent, any part of the world. So if you're a human living here, you need support from your family. You need support from society, community where you live. And we've had some people who have been very antagonistic to people who are maybe, you say, black and white together and all that. We've read about it, we've watched it, we've seen it, where people are antagonistic to them, or where people feel that, okay, the black person coming into the relationship is because of one financial gain or the other. Maybe that person is a gold digger and stuff like that. So all those things join together to make up the external factors that determine the success of the marriage. But like I said, above all, the internal factor is the determination, because all these things can come as stressors and can probably make you guys stronger and make you guys better. But having said this, I don't have a problem now. I used to, like I said, 10 years back. Yeah, but now I don't. But even though I do not have an issue with ethnicity, at least when we're talking about ethnicity, I've just been talking about race, but it's not just race. It's not just, somebody of an European descent or origin marrying someone of an African American descent. No. It's not just that. It's that, but it's not just that. It's also even among Africans. Let's say a Nigerian marrying a Ghanaian, or a Sierra Leonean marrying, someone from somewhere else. Even among the same race, there's still some form of discrimination. And would I say that is they are without a basis? No. So there is some form of basis for people having that reservation. Let me use the word reservation. Having reservations for marrying different, even if you're all Africans. I will talk because I'm an African, so that's where I have more knowledge on. So if you're watching me and you're not from an African descent, I think it's a good history for you to learn. Yes, and to learn about us too. Yes, so in Africa, there's reservation when maybe, for example, I will use Nigeria Ghanaian because that's very common to me. Yeah. So it's or you find Ghanaian Cameroonian or something. There's this reservation, and like I said, even apart from that reservation, even in the same, let me use my country, Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. So even in the same country as in Nigeria, you find maybe, because we have three major tribes, Igbo, Yorubas, and Hausas, and I was born and brought up among the Hausas. So you find that even then, if an Igbo person, for example, wants to marry a Hausa person, or a Hausa person wants to marry a Yoruba person, there's still some reservation. Parents don't want it and all that. Actually, I found that the truth of the matter is our culture has played a major role in how we think, in how we act, in how we interact with society. If someone is from a particular culture, you see the way they greet is different. How the posture, how they greet the people who are either mate or elderly is different. Now, what I would say is interracial marriages, or when you're marrying people of different culture, let me use culture now because it's the basis for this whole talk. For different culture, where it poses a problem is whether male or female, you refuse. I'm from Nigeria, but I'm a Cross-Riverian. I'm married to a Delta man. I understand there are some things about, when I found out that I would be settling with this person, I had to find out some things about their culture. Because the truth of the matter is, you will interact with uncles, aunties, you will interact with maybe their parents are still alive, their parents. You may find yourself in their, country home, as it's called, a village. And you would need to act a certain way. You need, you can't say, no, I'm only married to my husband, especially those of us who have schooled abroad or lived abroad. All that, you leave it abroad when you're going back home. I'm getting real now. So if you are married to someone who is of a different culture from you, you have to learn, or you are in a relationship with someone from a different culture, you have to learn, okay, so how do you guys, you see, the problem, I've always said it, even from my first broadcast, I've always said talk. So the question should be, when someone is married to someone from a place, how do they treat their wives? You should ask. Or how do they treat their husbands? You should ask. And you should also say, okay, in case of a death, what happens? Okay, so how do they treat widows? How do they treat widowers? What are the conditions? These are things you need to, you see, like I said, I tell people, marriage is deep. It's not just, because you love someone, or because you feel, okay, you guys look good together when you take pictures. That's trash, because After some time, after you even give birth, you don't even know how you're going to look. So the truth of the matter, or even when you get to your 40s, you don't even know how you're going to look. So if the facial stuff is what keeps you guys going, it doesn't make sense. It's not being smart. What you should be asking are deep questions. You know, what happens in your culture to this? When this happens, what happens when ladies? Okay, if I'm not able to have children because of course you're not God. If I'm not able to have children in the married, what does your culture say about these things? You see, we cannot use civilization and pretend as if we don't have culture. Culture is a way of life. So no matter how you say it, if you're going to be with someone of another ethnicity or another race or another color, you must learn about those people. You must accept them, because this is what brings problem. Oh no, in my place we don't do this. No, we don't kneel to greet. I know a culture in Nigeria where you have to kneel to greet your husband. Actually, we don't. No. In my place we don't kneel to greet. And if you know you cannot kneel to greet, then don't marry somebody from that place. You see, people just give themselves an unnecessary headache. Find out the things about that place. If you know you cannot cope, then don't do it. That's the truth. I've always told people that there's no one person that is pinned down that this is your husband or this is your wife. That's 7 billion people. So get over your head. If you whatever you think you feel for A, in the right time, right environment, right atmosphere, you will feel for B. So if you know you cannot accept them with their culture, then let them be. Except now, because you see, normally when I'm doing return, right, I know that my audience is broad. So it could be anybody that's not a believer, but if you're a believer now, just 2 minutes, 1 minute actually, let me talk to you. If you're a believer and you're sure that you know you've prayed and all that and this person is right for you, even at that, listen, even at that, you must learn to accept the person together with the person's culture. So if it's not my answer to the question, I because it's a request question that someone asked me, I don't see ethnicity being a problem. What I see as a problem is people refusing to accept everything about the person they're in a relationship with or they're about to get married to. When you are getting married to somebody, you're getting married to the person, you're getting married to the person's culture, you're getting married to the person's religious belief, you're getting married to what the person stands for, you're getting married to everything the person represents. That's the truth. Especially as a woman, it should bother you, because wherever that person comes from, that's where your children will come from. Where whatever are the things that happen in the person's culture or that are passed down based on inheritance, based on different things, would still affect your children. So you cannot say, I'm just in love and leave it, or, oh, I've heard the Lord and leave it. No. There are certain investigations you have to make, and think smart. Even the scripture tells us that we should be as wise as they do. So, okay, if I know that this my husband's tradition, this is what they do at certain time, you should have a plan for when that happens, or if that happens. You should have a plan. So what will I do if that happens? How can I checkmate that? Or how can I, help myself or my children? You cannot just live life. You see, people live life carelessly. That's a problem. You cannot just live life carelessly. So to me, yes, ethnicity matters. It matters because it affects everything you do, even in your home. If someone was brought up, having we have this culture in Nigeria where if you're serving food to your husband, you have to stand with the water. If it has to do with those of us who have African, like I said, I'm African. Sorry, I have to talk about what I know and my tribe and my where I'm from. So if you have to let this, for those of you who are not Africans, that's what we use our hands to eat. Yes. So for example, if you're eating poundo or you're eating whatever, that's what you've served him. You have to stand there and hold the water. That is what that young man saw his uncles, saw what is being done to his uncles, saw what is being done to his father, so it takes God and someone who has now been exposed to say, okay, I don't really need that. I can actually wash my hands myself and stuff like that. But you cannot expect him automatically especially if he has not been exposed or has not thought about it, that it really doesn't matter and stuff. You cannot force that person overnight to change. You either accept or you say bye. That's the truth. You cannot. You see, I have told people that don't force things. Don't force things. You could state it that, hey, I'm not used to this because where I grew up, we don't hold that, for example. So you have to discuss these things with this person. You see, the problem is people get carried away with sex. That's the truth. I have to be real. I told you guys I'm going to be real today. People get carried away with sex in the relationship and they forget to ask the main things. People get carried away with going to the movies in the relationship and they forget to ask the things that they should ask. People get carried away with, how our pictures doing, how the likes doing on Facebook and on Instagram and they forget to discuss the nitty-gritty. Everybody, like I said, that comes from a home, that comes from a place, that has a culture, the person's orientation, everything is shaped a certain way, except the person moves from that environment, comes to another environment, and allows that environment to reshape the way the person thinks, because there are still people in Europe who have not been, that African thing has not left them. It's still there. Some have even lived 20, 30 years, but it's still there. They still, I just give this example, or they still want you as a wife to kneel to greet them. That is what they grew up with. That is what they saw. So ethnicity matter. You can't say, okay, I want to marry an Indian and you won't like garlic. How? You have to love garlic. If you don't love garlic, you will start loving garlic, because you have to cook with garlic. They like garlic and they eat garlic. So that is, you cannot say, oh no, it doesn't matter, am I? And then you think you would cook the food the way you eat it. Or if you are a guy and it's an Indian lady, there are certain things or certain way they dress and all. You see, like I said, if you're marrying someone or you're coming in a relationship with someone, know where the person is from and what they do and how they do it, because you have to do that too. It may not be everything. If there are some barbaric cultures, of course, I'm not saying accept all cultures or everything that they do that is barbaric. But something like garlic, for example, it's not barbaric. It doesn't affect you, except you're allergic to it. Now, if you're allergic to it, that's when you guys will have to talk. And if you see that there's no solution, he doesn't want to leave his garlic, or she doesn't want to leave her garlic, and you can't eat it, then, of course, that relationship has to break. You see, I tell people that there are a lot of things that go into saying I want to marry somebody. There are lots of dynamics. You cannot just sit down and say, oh, yes, I want my children. I've seen that, okay, this person is from maybe Romania, for example, and so my children are going to look this way, so let me just marry them and all that. No. So the Romanians, what do they do? How is their culture? You see, so it matters. I'm not saying discriminate. I'm not saying don't marry certain people. There are some people that just say, oh, no, this person is from here. Never. I cannot. Never say never. But what I'm saying is, if you end up finding yourself marrying, even if it's the same Africa, maybe you're in Nigeria and you want to marry a Ghanaian, okay, you have to find out, especially if you're a woman, okay, they eat light soup, children, can I learn, do I like the soup, can I learn how to cook it? There are things you must learn. Okay, so what do they do to their women when, for example, if my husband goes before me, what happens to their women? What do they do with inheritance? What do they do with properties of the man? These are things you should sit down and ask. And you see, even in the Nigeria, we have about 300 something ethnic groups. Every group has its peculiarity. So you have to know what you're getting into. But like I said, people just get carried away. Especially when people have started approaching, there was that thing called, approaching their late 20s. They don't reason anymore. All they just want is a man who put a ring in their finger and take them to church. And, if they are Christians or if they are Muslims, whatever, do their marital rights and they're fine. That's not it. You have to take, if you're marrying, whether you're a lady or a man, you're marrying both their culture. Because even, for example, when I lost my mom, there were certain things that were expected of the son-in-law of the person. It wasn't like that. That doesn't happen where my husband is from, but that's what happens where we're from, and he had to do it. There are certain things, if you're married to someone or you decide to be with somebody, learn their culture. Ask questions, because what brings problem that even leads to divorce or brings heated arguments is when no, we don't do this, I won't do this, no, I can't cook that, I won't do that, no, I won't do, and it leads to problem. Because there are certain things you must do, and some of you think you can hide under church. You came, yes, I understand that you're born again, or I understand that you're a Christian, or I understand that you're a Muslim, you have a religion and stuff, but you came from somewhere. And that place you came from, there's a way they do things. So you have to ask questions. So at this point, I hope the person who asked me this question has been able to, answer you and let you know that it matters. It's not about how the child will look. It's not about how you guys will look fine on Instagram and the rest. You have to know that their culture matters. Especially if you are going to where it's if it's even the same race, it may be a people, but if it's a different race, let's say you are African and you're going to Asia, you have to learn, how do the Asia greet? How do they do their things? When they give birth, what are the traditional things they do? When they do you have to find out all these things. You cannot just say, oh, yes, we're cool together. Oh, Snapchat. You have to ask questions, because those cultures will affect you. If they don't affect you, maybe you're able to circumnavigate it, they will affect your children. So especially if you're a lady, listen, and you come across this, listen very well. If the man is an Asian, or the man is from, that's where your child is from. That's how the world is, and that's you're not about to start changing it. Yes. So where he's from is where your children will fall. There are certain things that happen there. Will probably, in fact, if I don't want to make this more like a Christian something, but my dear, even spiritually, there are certain things that happen to certain ethnic groups. Unless, of course, if you're a believer, you pray and all that. But there's certain things that happen to certain ethnic groups that would happen to your children. So you cannot just say where the person comes from doesn't matter. It matters. That's my take. It matters. I'm not saying don't marry or don't be in a relationship, but you need to know what you're getting into. Information is power. Knowledge is power. Get all the knowledge you need to get. And find out everything you need to find out about that culture. Are you okay with it? Yes. You see, the truth of the matter is some people are not okay with it, but you feel you can fight it. Why plan to live your life in battles? Live your life to be battling parents or be battling culture or be battling traditions? Why? Why? If you know you can't take it, you know you can't cope. My simple advice is just leave it. Find someone that you understand their culture, that you like their culture, that you can accommodate their culture, that you can change or shift a bit for, and then you can now settle down with that person. So it's not, the marriages is not just built only on love or this. No. It's built first on a decision. Secondly, on how you accept, how you circumnavigate this ethnicity we're talking about. How you navigate, especially if you're a woman, your in-laws, how you navigate them, especially if you're African. How you navigate your in-laws plays an important role on how long your marriage will last, or how turbulent or peaceful it will be. So if you have questions, please, this was a request topic, so like I said, I've answered it. And if you and again, I think I've said it, but let me, there are some cultures where, for example, money, the man doesn't show the wife his money, or in fact the woman has to submit her hard-earned money. It's not mutual. It's not like we have a joint purse or something, or okay, we just understand whoever has, let's solve problem. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying this one, you, after working or whatever, you collect your salary, if you're doing business, whatever, after you bring in profit, you have to give it to your husband. Is their culture. So you see, there are certain things, like I said, you have to ask questions. Don't just fall in love blindly. Like I used to say it, and everybody around me knows. Mine was crystal clear. I knew what I was going to. I knew the culture. I knew everything. I found out what I needed to find out. There were one or two things I didn't find out that I got to know later on, but those things were not as important as the main things I had found out, before I decided to say I do. Because I understood that it's not just about him. He has parents, he has where he comes from, he has relatives, he has people, and there are certain expectations, that they would expect from, their in-law or from someone who is marrying their son. So you cannot take it lightly. I tell people, apart from I'm a believer unapologetically, and I cannot help it. So I must let you know, apart from receiving Christ as a personal Savior, which is the most important decision I made, marriage is the second most important decision. That's the truth. Because that's the person, depending on the age you get married to, and depending on when you die, according to how God determines it, you're stuck with that person. So why not make it worthwhile? Why not make it peaceful? Why not enjoy it? Why get into something that you will stress over, or if you're the type who prays, you won't sleep at night and you begin to pray over things that you could have, actually decided and known how to deal with it even before you get into marriage, or things that you could have avoided by leaving the human being alone, and looking for someone else. So that's the truth. If you have questions, please, you can ask them now, because I'm about logging off. I know I came on late, but it's a request topic and I really had to answer the person. Like I said, I had some hitches, but we're good. Yes. So good evening, Amos. Yes. Juliana, I see you. Thank you for joining me. Migdad, thank you for joining me. I see you. Susan, thank you for joining me. Maslina, I see you. So please, if you have questions, you can ask them, because if I don't get any questions, I'm logging off. Or if they're very personal to you, you can send me a message, of course. You could DM me or WhatsApp me. The numbers are all on the comment section. So ethnicity does matter. There are a way people do their things. Even in their food, even in their dressing, even in the way they train their children is different. Even among, for example, me, Nigerians, the way the Yorubas train their children is different from the way the Igbos train their children. It's different from the way the people train their children. So everything, it matters. I can't overemphasize it. It does. But I'm not saying end your relationship. I'm saying just learn. and see if you can accommodate. If you cannot accommodate, then you let it go. But if you can accommodate, if you can change for it, if you can adapt, if you can learn it, it's okay. You can go ahead. So I'm waiting for some questions. If there are, please let me know so I can log out. Yeah, so today I'm not with my wig while I'm waiting for people to write a question. I'm with my dread. Those who don't know, I'm on dread. I'm on dreads, and it's 1 year. I want it to grow a bit more so I can leave the wigs alone. Yeah, so someone said is dread. Anyway, I don't want to go. That's another topic. Is dread is sin and all. Well, I don't know who make these rules. Anyway, it's my natural hair. I decided to do what I want to do with it, and I don't see anything attached to it. Okay, so I think we don't have questions, or they're probably personal. Thank you for joining me. Please don't forget to join me for Read Time with Write Extended on Sunday, 6 p.m. We're going to be discussing a very I need to explain some things on Read Time with Write Extended. Is not I take request topics here, but apart from request topics, I treat topics that affect our everyday living. It's more broad. It's not really on relationship alone. There's more to it. So I think you should listen. You should try to join me on Read Time with Write Extended. All right. Bye for now. Thanks for joining me, those who did.